Hey everyone, welcome back to HD Reddit Reads. Today's topic is Confessions of Reddit. Let's get into it. I blackmailed my uncle some time ago and I really regret it. My father is a dick, and so my uncle, my mother's brother, has always been my favorite male figure. He's about 13 years older than me, so I saw him as a really cool older brother. He took me to school, played with me, helped me with my homework, went to the pool with me, and everything else a little girl could want. But when he was in the middle of his 20s and I was 12 to 13, he started to give me less and less attention. Got a girlfriend, was starting to think about having children, and I became really jealous. I always spent a lot of time alone with him and started making small threats whenever he didn't give me any attention when he was babysitting me. I started by saying that if he didn't drop the phone to talk to me, then I would tell my mom that he rubbed my butt or something minor like that. He seemed very uncomfortable to hear that, and most of the time he paid attention to me. It didn't take long for me to realize that this works very well, and I started using it more and more, making more and more serious threats, including that he had touched my private part in the pool, or made me play doctor with him, or ask for pictures. In my head, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't understand the seriousness of what I could end up telling my mom, so I really didn't know how much he just accepted, or if he really felt threatened. Anyway, it continued until I was about 14, almost 15. I'm 17 now, he turned 30, got a good job, moved to another city, and is really having a good life. But since then, he has acted like I don't exist. We never spoken proper again, he never appeared on my birthdays or any other birthdays where I could be, and I think he really hates me. I wish I could tell him that I'm sorry and that I love him very much, and that I was jealous and I didn't want to lose the only person in my family who took me to do cool things. But I also feel like a piece of shit that would never be able to look him in the eye again. I don't even know if he would be willing to forgive me, but he is always afraid of approaching me and thinking that I might do the same thing again. Or he doesn't want to know about my existence anymore. I really want to know what to do, how to apologize. I'm afraid of everything he can say to me if we're going to talk about it. I think it'll hurt even more than the silence. I changed my D grade to an A in IT. When I was in grade 7, when the class was finished and the teacher was going to the bathroom, I snuck into the IT class and went to the teacher's computer, who was at the time doing reports. I went on his Excel charts and changed my marks to add up to an A. I never got caught, somehow, even though I had a physical copies of my work that was always below average marks of any other student. I got that A and a certificate for the highest mark in IT at an assembly. Everybody who was in the class also gave me shit for it, but I shrugged it off. I work at a startup game company and sell accounts at high levels/resources to the player base at cheap. It's a mobile game with microtransactions. I love premium games, indie games, board games, crowdfunding games, early access games, and microtransaction/FTP games. They all have their uses. But when my company starts to regard the players as not users and refuses to fix long-standing bugs, refuse to give raises to the 2 employees that have been there for 4+ years, getting paid less now due to inflation, and the CEO being an all-around shady shithead by firing people without severance, I'm going to make my own exit parachute. I sell accounts at $100, and its true value is debatable, but $100 is what players offer, so I do that. Then I load it with $100 free currency and extra goods. Been looking into the database to see if it's traceable, but because the CEO won't listen to me, it's not. Security sucks, and so does any data collection, so if we wanted to know if someone was hacking currency, we wouldn't know. I am a security guard who steals from work and other places. I've had my license for a couple of years now. I have started stealing 4 months ago. Here's a list of items I've stolen from work. 1. Hot chili sauce times 2, an apple times 5, sandwiches times 4, face wipes times 1, water bottles times 3, toothbrush and toothpaste, hand sanitizers, and 1 chocolate. I steal once a week. I know where the cameras are, so it makes it easier. I can't stop stealing. If I get caught, that'll be the end of me. I don't just steal from work. I sometimes go to other stores and steal from there too. I have stolen expensive jackets and pants. I have stolen a perfume as well. This might be a good time to mention that I am also a qualified store detective. I have caught and reported staff members who have stolen. I regret reporting them too, and that was before I fell into this bad habit. Due to my experience as a security guard, I mostly avoid the obvious mistake. I am not proud of any of this. It is of a low character and I shouldn't be doing any of this. It's difficult to stop though, due to the sheer probability. I am certain I will get caught one day if I don't stop now. the odds aren't in my favor. I am in debt, I do struggle to make ends meet, it's no excuse, just trying to give the extra context. I'm a total mess. Stole a girl's money on picture day. I stole a $10 bill from the girl sitting next to me in like 5th grade. I seen her put it in her desk and I applied to stealing it in that very moment. It was picture day, so I was sure that it was going to be for that, but I didn't care at the time. I told myself I would do it when she goes to the bathroom, but she never did. So I did it when she was in the middle of a conversation with her friend sitting on the other side of her. I was scared as hell, but I eventually reached my hand in there and felt like forever, but I got it and I instantly felt rich. When we came back from lunch, I walked into her crying and her friend consoling her. 14 years later, and I see her on Facebook, and it's all I can think about. Sometimes I think about confessing to her, but I don't know how to do it. I stole money from my dad when I was a teenager. When I was 14, my dad was very sick. He had very bad sleep deprivation because of his health issues. He could not breathe while sleeping, hence his brain couldn't get enough oxygen. He has not had any good sleep for about a year and a half then. He still went to work and all, but he was kind of distracted all the time. So effed up teenager me would grab his wallet and pull out $10 bills and $1 bills, just small amounts that he never noticed. I don't know why I didn't ask him. He would have given me the money. Worst part is, he died shortly after, and I was never able to tell him about it, / confess to him. It kind of makes me feel extremely awful to this day. I feel so bad about this. Edit. Thanks to all of you, I cannot even tell you how much you've helped me out with my bad feelings. I remember now that one reason I did not want to ask him was that I kind of disconnected from him because of his countless diseases at the time. I just could not cope with his suffering, and I was just caught up in a stupid teenager world, trying to impress other people, etc. I know now that even though he died so soon in my life, he was being the best dad he could ever be, and never letting me down. He definitely knew I was struggling with him losing all of his abilities, but through all the suffering, he tried to be and always was the best dad I could ever imagine. Thank you guys. I robbed Blockbuster Video by switching Contra with Mario/Duck Hunt. I was probably 12, and this genius Ocean's 11 Ultimate Brilliant Master Plan occurred to me when we rented the NES game Contra. I didn't want to bring it back, and I realized I had 2 Mario/Duck Hunt cards. So I decided to open up these cartridges and swap the insides. But they don't have regular screws. I had a Phillips head and the flathead screwdriver, and the screws were weird star-shaped heads. So I found this plumber's putty stuff. It has a blue strip and a silver strip, and when you mix them, it turns into metal. Because I'm a genius, I used that to mold a new screwdriver head to take out the 4 screws. Inside the cart is a small green circuit board with a couple chips on it, and I swapped one for the other. I had a whole elaborate narrative prepared. I was going to slam my hands on the counter, outraged, and shout, "How dare you rent me Contra, and it's a Mario game. I want my money back." Again, because I'm a genius. Then, about halfway to Blockbuster to return the game, it occurred to me that 1, my mom saw me playing Contra and talking about how awesome Contra was, and 2, if I keep playing Contra after making a scene, she's going to notice. So, in the end, my master plan worked, but I was too scared to ever play it again. I threw it away, and I spent weeks waiting for the cops to bang on my door to arrest me. I stabbed a kid in the face with an umbrella and got away with it in court by saying it was an accident when it wasn't. Stabbed is the wrong word. I thrust an umbrella at his face and it wounded him, resulting in him needing to get 14 stitches. Here's the rest of the story. I was in 8th grade at the school that has 6th to 8th grade classes in it. This kid, let's call him A, was a straight A student and was a part of every club and all that shit. He always treated me like shit, and only me to my knowledge. He would call me retarded constantly and make fun of me for not having the best grades or for, in his opinion, not being as smart. And when I would go to the teachers or the principal about it, they would never do anything. They would be like, "Oh, I know A, he wouldn't do that. He would never do that. Stop trying to get A in trouble." This was infuriating. Well, one day, while I was holding one of those little umbrellas that extends when you press the button, he called me retarded in front of my friends. So I went off, thrusting the umbrella at his face and pressing the button at the same time, resulting in a very strong pow right to the face. The umbrella had a flat tip, wasn't pointed, so the edge gave him a little tiny smiley-shaped cut on his cheek. Well, his dad took me and my dad to court over it. However, instead of taking A to the emergency room or the hospital, he drove multiple counties away to a plastic surgeon so that it would be way more expensive and would be out of my dad's insurance range or whatever. He also tried to sue us for the gas cost to get there. However, I had told the judge that it was an accident, and I was trying to stop the umbrella thing just short of his face to intimidate him so he'd finally leave me alone. That was a lie. I jacked him in the face as hard as I could. The judge didn't take kindly to how his dad went about it, or how A had treated me, so I got off scot-free, and the dad got in trouble for trying to jack up the price he was suing for. So he had to pay the plastic surgery out of pocket. A never spoke to or harassed me again for the rest of the school year, or for the rest of high school that followed. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. It'll be greatly appreciated. And if you want to visit the original thread, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.